Horror scenarios did not occur in Great Britain despite easing. The kingdom wants to be a pioneer with a new test procedure and a drug. But there are still uncertainties. Sajid Javid sounds satisfied. He calls the vaccination program in Great Britain phenomenal. The British Minister of Health is certain that with every injection against the coronavirus, they create a massive defense wall nationwide. And indeed, this defensive wall holds up better than feared. Vaccination and testing have been almost the only remaining protective measure against the pandemic on the island since last month. On July 19th, Prime Minister Boris Johnson lifted most of the corona restrictions for England on his so-called Freedom Day, which I still call Freedom Day. Since then, there are no longer any restrictions on restaurants, clubs or concerts. Wearing masks is also no longer required by law. Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland determine their own measures, but a similar number of restrictions have been lifted there. The British Prime Minister was warned before the major easing. Numerous scientists spoke of a dangerous and unethical experiment in an open letter published in the medical journal The Lancet. Health Minister Javid had also stated that he was expecting 50,000 new infections per day on Freedom Day and 100,000 cases would later be possible. However, since more and more people are vaccinated, such a high number no longer poses a threat to the health system. About a month later, Javid's predictions have not come true. While almost 47,000 newly infected people were reported on Freedom Day, the number of new infections initially fell. For a few days, the number of people infected per day has stagnated at 30,000. The 7-day incidence was more than 320. With increasing vaccinations, however, the registered hospital admissions and deaths are more informative. A total of 6,441 people were treated for COVID-19 in hospital on August 19th, almost 2,000 more than a month earlier. The deaths have also risen. While they were only in the single-digit range for several days in May, more people are now dying from corona every day. The last number was 87. Compared to the extreme outbreaks around the turn of the year, the numbers are still on a low level. However, the easing had significant consequences elsewhere. As a result of a large number of risk encounters, an estimated 1.7 million Britons were in self-isolation at the end of July. As a result, some supermarkets could no longer be adequately supplied, and that in combination with Brexit. The quarantine regulations in England have therefore been changed since last week. For fully vaccinated people, the quarantine requirement is lifted after contact with an infected person. Only PCR testing is recommended in such a case, but it's not mandatory. Similar regulations also apply in Scotland and Wales. Health researcher Stephen Reicher said the government must continue to urge the population to do PCR tests after contact with infected people. He said, "You are not invulnerable if you are double vaccinated. There is still a certain risk of getting infected and infecting others." He told that to the BBC. Meanwhile, the UK is taking advantage of the new opportunities in the pandemic. The government is offering antibody tests for infected people starting last Tuesday. Specifically, they should check their blood for antibodies twice using a self-test. First, after the infection was detected, and again 28 days afterwards. The results should then be sent to a laboratory and evaluated by experts. Up to 8,000 tests are available every day. By doing this, you will help us increase our understanding of COVID-19 as we carefully return to a more normal life, said Health Minister Javid. In the event of an infection, doctors in Great Britain can now use a special drug. The British regulatory authority granted the agent Ronapreve an emergency approval last Friday. You might have seen my video on that one on my main channel. It's designed to minimize the risk of a severe course. Former US President Donald Trump was also treated with it. That's why everyone calls it a Trump cocktail. According to Javid, it should be deployed as soon as possible. The product has not yet been approved for the EU, though. Is Great Britain turning into a new pandemic phase, also with the help of the new drug? Doubts are still in order. Ronapreve is unlikely to be a means for the general public. because according to the BBC, a single treatment should cost the equivalent of more than 2,300 euros. In addition, the country should still benefit from the summer holidays. So far, only schools in Scotland have reopened. In England, Wales and Northern Ireland, on the other hand, lessons will not start until the coming week. We are going into winter with a very high infection rate, and we really don't know what's going to happen, warned immunologist Peter Openshaw on Times Radio. Bath University math biologist Kit Yates sees it similarly. If there's one lesson that other countries should learn from the UK's attempt to reopen, it is that vaccines are not the only solution to the problem, she told the CNN. Despite the comparatively low numbers, it's already not possible in British hospitals to carry out all routine treatments. The government, on the other hand, continues to rely fully on the massive defense wall made up of vaccinations. A further 35 million vaccine doses have just been ordered from BioNTech for the coming years. No, the coming year. I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.